Study of organism relationship with its environment is said to be as the ecology. The word ecology is derived from two Greek words. One is the eikos, second one is the logos. Eikos means house, logos means study. House study nothing but in the house members of the family are present. They may be continuously interacted among themselves and also they may be interacted with the environment. Then we can say that is the ecology. Means ecology nothing but the study of interaction of organisms and their interaction with the environment is said to be as the ecology. The word ecology is coined by Haeckel. As per him, the animal interaction or organisms interrelationship with their environment is said to be as the ecology. Again, in the branch of the ecology, there are two sub-branches. One is the articology or species ecology or population ecology. Second branch is synecology or community ecology. Community ecology. What is the articology or the species ecology or the population ecology means? Study of interaction between the two individuals of same species and their interaction with the environment is said to be as the articology or the species ecology or the population ecology. Means the interrelationship of the individuals which belongs to same species and their interaction with the abiotic environment is said to be as the ecology or the species ecology or the population ecology. Instead of that, the interaction between the two individuals of different species, their interaction with the environment is said to be as the synecology or the community ecology. Again in ecology, what is the ecosystem? What are the components of ecosystem? What are the components of ecosystem? Means natural in the ecosystem, what are the structural units, what are the functional units which are present, how they may be together constitute that kind of the ecosystem. Means basically the ecosystem two components are present. One is the physical or structural components. Second one is the functional components. Then what are the structural components of ecosystem means? One is the abiotic factors. Second one is the biotic factors. Again, what are the functional components of ecosystem means? One is the functional components are principally are of four. One is the productivity, second one is the decomposition, next one is the energy flow, next one is the nutrient cycling. So principal functional components of an ecosystem are the productivity, decomposition, energy flow, nutrient cycles. Again, when we observe the abiotic factors are of two types. One is the physical factors, second one is the chemical factors. Again, what are the physical factors means? Light, temperature, again pressure, again soil or the physical. Chemical factors: CO2, H2O, O2, minerals are the chemical factors. Among these, when we observe the first physical factor, that is the light, definitely light must be essential for the existence of plants as well as for existence of animal. Light must be required. Means, for what purpose this light is required for the plants means, for photosynthesis to synthesize the starch material, definitely to the plant, light must be required. So to acquire the light, plants may be shows the various type of the adaptations, even though to receive little amount of the light for performance of the photosynthesis. Which definitely light is essential for the existence of various plants. At the same time, light also must be shows its influence over the metabolism of the animal. Means, what are the effects of the light on the various activities of animals? Means, first effect is effect of light on movement. Again, effect of the light on the movement can be explained by two phenomena. One is the phototaxis, second one is the photokinesis. Phototaxis means a specific directional movement against to the source of the light, a specific oriented movement against to the source of the direction of the light. If it is occurs in the individual, then we can say that is the phototaxis. Again, the movement of an individual may be towards the source of the light, away from the source of the light. If individual maybe shows the movement towards the source of the light, then that is said to be as the positive phototaxis. Otherwise, if the individual maybe moves away from the source of the light, then we can say that is the negative phototaxis. Means, again, phototaxis can be categorized into two types. One is the positive phototaxis. Second one is the negative phototaxis. Again, positive phototaxis means if the individual moves away from the moves towards the source of the light, individual, if it can be moves towards the source of the light, then we can say that is the positive phototaxis. For example, Euglena. Otherwise, if the individual moves away from the source of the light, then that is said to be as the negative phototaxis. For example, cockroach. Photokinesis means, in this case, the intensity of the light must be influences on the velocity of the movement of an individual. Means in this particular case, movement may be occurs in directional, may not be occurs in directional. So that only we can say it is the non-oriented movement. Non-oriented movement which is occurs in the individual in response to the light exposure is said to be as the photokinesis. Better example is the Pinnaterus maculatus is the blind larvae. It is the blind larva. As increasing the intensity of the light, its velocity gets increases. Its velocity of the movement gets increases. Next effect of the light on the individual is the metabolism. Definitely, as intensity of light is increases, metabolic rate of an individual is increases, because definitely enzymatic activity is increases with increasing the light intensity. By that way, metabolic rate is also gets increases. Third effect is pigmentation. Definitely, light must be increases pigmentation in the individual, so that only animals which may be exposed to the high intensity of light, they may be appears as the dark in color. Individuals which may be exposed to low intensity of light, they may be look like as the pale in color. Means by this we can say definitely light must be induces the pigment formation in the individual's skin. By that way, animals which may be exposed to the high intensity of light, they must be look like as the dark in color than the individuals which may be exposed to the low intensity of light. Again, next one is the next effect is photo or biological rhythms. Biological rhythms. Light must be shows its effect over the biological rhythm. What is the biological rhythms means? Cyclical events, if they may be occurs in the individuals at a regular interval, then we can say that is the biological rhythm. Regular events or biological events, if they may be occurs at a regular interval, then that is said to be as the biological rhythm. Definitely, biological rhythms are regulated by biological clocks which may be present in our body. Again, biological clocks are resetted by light. By the way, light must be shows its influence over the biological rhythm. If this kind of the biological rhythms are occurs by basing 24 hours duration, that is said to be as the circadian rhythm. This is said to be as the circadian rhythms. By basing 24 hours duration, this kind of the biological events are occurs at a regular interval, then we can say that is the circadian rhythm. Next to UV radiation. Next to UV radiation. What is the UV radiation means? The short wavelength between the 100 to 380 nanometers, that kind of the radiation is said to be as the ultraviolet radiation, that is the UV radiation. UV radiation principally categorized into three categories. One is the UVC, UVB, UVA. What is the wavelength of the UVC means? 100 to 280 nanometers. What is the wavelength of the UVB means? 280 to 320 nanometers. What is the wavelength of the UVA means? 320 to 380 nanometers. second important physical factor is the temperature. Second physical factor is the temperature. Definitely temperature also must be shows its influence over the animal's body. What are the effects of the temperature means? First one is the temperature tolerance. Depending upon the temperature tolerance, principally animals are categorized into two types here. One is the eurythermal, second one is said to be as the stenothermal. Depending upon the temperature tolerance, animals principally categorized into two types. One is the eurythermal, second one is the stenothermal. Eurythermal means if the animals are able to tolerate wide range of fluctuations in the temperature, such animals are said to be as the eurythermal. Otherwise, if the animals are not able to tolerate wide range of the fluctuation in the temperature, if they may be able to tolerate a narrow range of the fluctuation in the temperature, then we can say that is the stenothermal. Better example is the all homeotherms, such as the goats and the mobile, they are able to maintain constant body temperature, so that only they may be able to tolerate wide range of the fluctuations in their surrounding environment, so they are the eurythermal. Again, animals which may be with poikilothermic nature, animals which may not be able to tolerate, which may not be able to maintain constant body temperature, such animals may not be able to tolerate wide range of the fluctuation in the temperature, so they are said to be as the stenothermal. Means most of poikilothermic animals are not able to tolerate the wide range of the fluctuation in the surrounding temperature, so they are the stenothermal. Next, definitely metabolism. Temperature must be shows its influence over the metabolism, because up to a certain extent, as the temperature gets increases, enzymatic activity also gets increases. By that way, metabolic rate is also gets increases. So that only up to a certain extent, definitely as the temperature gets increases, metabolic rate of an individual also increases. At what temperature maximum rate of the metabolic activities are occurs, such temperature is said to be as the optimum temperature. That is said to be as the optimum temperature. At what temperature maximum rate of the metabolic activities are occurs in the individual, the temperature is said to be as the optimum temperature. For example, in the case of the human body, 37 degrees centigrade temperature is the optimum temperature at which metabolic rate of our body is maximum. Next to temperature adaptations. What are the temperature adaptations means? Temperature adaptations are principally categorized into three types. One is behavioral adaptations. Behavioral adaptation. Second one is the morphological adaptations. Third one is the physiological adaptations. Behavioral adaptations nothing but without getting forming any structure, without getting development of any organ, by simply animal behavior, if body temperature is maintained as the constant, then we can say that is the behavioral adaptation. Without getting any morphological change, without getting any anatomical change, simply by animal behavior, if this kind of the body temperature is maintained constant, then we can say that is the behavioral adaptation. For example, desert lizard. Definitely desert lizard must be maintained constant body temperature by simple its behavior. Means whenever its body temperature is decreases, then immediately comes out of its hidden places and it exposes its body to the solar radiation in the open environment until its body temperature is reaches to the comfortable zone. After reaching the body temperature to the normal, it may be returned back to its hidden places and it never comes out of its hidden places if body temperature is greater than the normal. So by this mechanism, it may be maintaining its constant body temperature. If body is exposed to the solar radiation to increase its body temperature, then that nature is said to be as the basking. By simply basking mechanism, it maintains its constant body temperature. Second, morphological adaptations. Morphological adaptations can be explained by two rules. One is the Bergmann's rule. Second one is the Allen's rule. Definitely, morphological adaptations can be explained by the two rules. One is the Bergmann rule, second one is the Allen's rule. As per Bergmann rule, animals which may be lives in the colder area, they must be with a big sized body and greater biomass. Whenever the body size is big, whenever greater biomass is there, then the ratio value between the surface area to biomass is very less. That never allows the loss of the body temperature in the form of the heat. So that only they may avoid loss of the body temperature in the form of the heat to maintain constant body temperature. Better example for the Bergmann rule is the American moose. American moose or Eurasian elk or Alsace. When we observe the American moose, North Sweden, American moose is big in size when compared to the South Sweden American moose. So that only North Sweden American moose is about 15 to 20% of the greater biomass when compared to the Southern Sweden American moose. Second, Allen's rule. As per this, the individuals which may be lives in colder region, they are with the shortest sized earlobes and limb in order to avoid to increase the surface area. Means animals which may be lives in the colder area, they are with the short sized earlobes and limb. By that way, surface area may not be greatly increases without increasing the biomass. By that way, there is the proportion between the surface area to the biomass. By that way, the ratio value between the surface area to biomass is not greatly increases. By that way, body temperature may not be tends to loss in the form of the heat in the colder area. Instead of that, the animals which may be lives in the desert areas, animals which may be lives in the tropical area, they are with big sized earlobes and limb. Long earlobes and limbs are present in the animals of the tropical area to easily get lost to body temperature in the form of the heat. Because animals which may be lives in the tropical area are continuously exposed to the solar radiation. So that only continuously their body temperature gets increases. So that only to decrease raised body temperature, they must be with the long earlobes and live. By that way, there may be easily gets lost the body temperature in the form of the heat to decrease the raised body temperature. Better example is the Walpus, Lagopus, Walpus jerdau. This is the polar fox. This is the desert fox. When compared to the polar fox, in desert fox, longer earlobes and limbs are present. Means in the Walpus jerdau, long earlobes and limbs are present when compared to the Walpus lagopus. Again, physiological adaptations, when we observe the physiological adaptation, physiological adaptations are nothing but homeostasis. Means definitely most of the mammals maybe gets able to sustain in all kind of the environments because of due to the homeostasis only. Means maintenance of the constant internal environment related to the temperature and salt water constancy is said to be as the homeostasis. Inside of the body, if the constant salt and water levels are gets maintained and constant body temperature if it can be maintained, then that is said to be as the homeostasis. Because of due to the homeostasis only, most of the mammals are able to survive successfully in all kind of the habitats. How this kind of the individuals may be maintain the homeostasis? What is the nature of the maintenance of the homeostasis? Means depending upon the degree of maintenance of the homeostasis, individuals are principally categorized into three types. One is said to be as the regulators, second one is the conformers, third one is the partially regulators and partially conformers. Partially regulators and partially conformers. So definitely depending upon the degree of maintenance of constant body temperature, individuals are principally categorized into three types. One is the regulator, second one is the conformer, third one is the partially regulators and partially conformers. Regulators means if the animals are able to maintain constant body temperature, then we can say that is the regulator. For example, birds. For example, mammal. These two kind of the individuals can maintain constant body temperature by following various mechanisms. So that only they are said to be as the regulators. Instead of that, rest of individuals maybe changes the body temperature with respect to environmental temperature. They are said to be as the conformers. About 99% of the individuals which maybe exist in the animal kingdom are with the conformer nature. They maybe changes their body temperature with respect to the environmental temperature. Certain type of the individuals such as the camels, up to 40 degrees centigrade temperature, they maybe changes their body temperature with respect to the environmental temperature. Behind 40 degrees centigrade temperature, their sweaty glands able to force and release starts producing the sweating. By that way, never above 40 degrees centigrade temperature, body temperature cannot be gets raises. Means behind the 40 degrees, this camel is acts as the regulator, but until the 40 degrees centigrade temperature, camel behaves as the conformer. So that only they said to be as the partial regulator and partially conformer. These regulators, most of the regulators are these animals during the temporary stressful condition to avoid the temperature, extreme temperature effect. They maybe shows the three type of phenomena. Most of the animals to avoid the temporary stressful conditions, they maybe shows the three type of the mechanisms. One is the migration. Second one is the suspended life activity. Third one is the die-off. Simply to avoid the temporary stressful conditions in the environment, animals mostly tends to follow three types of the phenomena to avoid them. One is the migration. Means a certain type of the individuals maybe starts migration from their original places to the hospital areas to avoid the temporary stressful conditions which may be created in their original habitat. For example, when we observe the Siberian cranes, with the onset of winter season in Siberia of Russia, extreme cold gets created. To avoid that kind of the extreme cold effect, they may be starts migration to the India from the Siberia of Russia, and in India they may be take the shelter in Keoladeo National Park of Rajasthan. Means in this kind of the individuals may be moves from the stressful area to the hospital area, then that kind of the phenomenon is said to be as migration or escape in place. Escape in space or escape in place means they may be escaped from the natural habitat because where temporarily unfavorability gets created. Until that unfavorability gets disappears, they may be migrates to the other areas where the conditions are favorable to them here. Second one is the suspended life activity. This is said to be as the escape in time. This is the escape in time. Means a certain type of the individual may not show the migration, may not be gets moves from their natural habitat to the else area. Definitely they may be resides in their original habitat during these stressful conditions also. But they may be lead inactive mode of life. They may be leads inactive mode of life. Means their metabolic rate is very low. Means they may be tends to live. They may be gets to spend their life with low metabolic rate. For example, estivation, again hibernation. Means this also called as the summer sleep. This is also called as the winter sleep. During the extreme summer effect, during the summer season, to avoid the extreme summer effect, certain type of the individuals may be leads summer sleep, that is said to be as the estivation. For example, land snails, frog, protactylus. This individuals shows the estivation, that is the summer sleep during the extreme summer. Again, whatever the polar beam which is there, they may be shows the winter sleep during the extreme winter season. To avoid the extreme winter effect, these individuals may be leads inactive mode of the life with low rate of the metabolism, that is said to be as the hibernation of the winter sleep. Third one is the diaphase. In certain type of the individuals, developmental activities are gets postponed, developmental activities are gets delayed during the unfavorable condition. After creating the favorability, again the developmental activities are continued, then that is said to be as the diaphase. For example, zooplanktons, insects, again larvae of fish are better example for that kind of the diaphase. Zooplanktons, insects, larvae of the fishes mostly postponed their developmental activity during the unfavorable condition, again they may be continued their development after creating the favorability. This is the temperature. Next to pressure, another physical factor is the pressure here. Definitely when we observe the pressure related important, whenever the persons may be visit 6,000 meters height from the sea level, they must be suffered with a disease that is said to be as the altitude sickness. This is also called as the mountain sickness. Because of due to the low partial pressure of oxygen, definitely persons may be shows a disease that is said to be as the altitude sickness. What are the symptoms of the altitude sickness means? One is the fatigue, again nausea, again heart palpitation. Means a person's may be look like as the tired. Again, vomiting sensation is very common in them. Irregular heartbeat is also very common. Means what are the symptoms of the altitude sickness? Means fatigue, nausea, heart palpitation. How this kind of the persons may be recovered, may be adapted to that kind of the low partial pressure of oxygen after some time means, first one is that in their body RBC production gets increases. Second one is that hemoglobin affection towards the oxygen gets decreases. By decreasing hemoglobin binding capacity with oxygen and by increasing the RBC production, by increasing the breathing rate, these persons may be adapted to the kind of the low oxygen tension at height of the 6,000 meters. Next one is the population interaction. Next one is the population interaction. What is the population interaction means? In the nature, different species of individuals must be interacted one with another for getting the beneficial or for getting the beneficial or for existence. Individuals must be interacted continuously one with another. In such interaction, in few cases both partners may be gets benefited, or one partner may be gets benefited, one partner may be gets affected, or one partner may be gets benefited, second neither affected nor benefited. Next topic is the population interaction. Means in nature, two different species of individuals must be interacted one with another for their existence. That is said to be as the population interaction. In such interaction, in few cases both partners may be gets benefited, or in few cases one species may be benefited, second may be gets affected, or in few cases one species may be affected, second neither gets benefited nor affected, or in few cases one species may be benefited, second neither gets benefited nor affected. Depending upon the beneficial and effective nature, animal interactions are principally categorized into various types. One is the mutualism. Second one is the commensalism. Third one is the emmensalism. Fourth one is the predation. Fifth one is the parasitism. So mutualism means if the both partners are gets benefited by mutually cooperating one with another, that is said to be as the mutualism. Beneficial can be represented by plus sign. Again, commensalism means if one partner is gets benefited,
second partner neither gets benefited nor affected, then that is said to be as the commensalism. Means beneficial can be represented by plus, zero represented neutral. Means the second partner neither gets benefited nor affected. Again, commensalism means one partner must be gets affected, second partner neither gets benefited nor affected. That is the commensalism. Means the effect is the sign of minus. Means affected person can be represented by the minus sign. Predation nothing but plus minus method. Parasitism also plus minus method. Means in this case, definitely one partner gets benefited, second partner neither gets benefited, second partner must be gets affected. In the parasitism also, one partner must be gets benefited, second must be gets affected. Then what is the difference between the predation and parasitism means? In the predation, the person who may be gets benefited, that is said to be as a predator. Here he is the predator. The person who may be affected, he is the prey. Means the individual which is gets affected in the predation is the predator. The individual which is gets affected, that is the prey. Here, predator body size is big, prey body size is small. Means in the predation, big sized one feeds on the small sized one. But in the parasitism, there is a reverse. In parasitism, beneficial one is said to be as the parasite, affected one is said to be as the host. Here, parasite body size is small, host body size is big. Means in this particular predation, big sized one feeds on the small sized one, but in the parasitism, small sized one feeds on the big sized one. Means both of them, though they are plus minus methods, in the predation, definitely predator which is with the big sized body always feeds on the prey which is with the small sized body, but in parasitism it is completely opposite. Means parasite which is benefited one, which is with the small sized body, feeds on the big sized one which is host here. Again, another one is the competition. Another one is the competition, that is the minus method. Of this, the first one is the mutualism. First one is the mutualism. Definitely in the case of the animal kingdom, most of the insects and plants may be mutually cooperating one with another. By that interaction, both of them are gets benefited. Means the first example is the, what are the examples for the mutualism means? Most of the plants and insects, means insects may be helpful to the plant for pollination. By getting the free pollination, plants may be gets benefited. In return to that, plants may be supply the food material to that kind of the insects. By getting the free food material, insects may be gets benefited. Second one is the lichens. In this association, definitely algae, by receiving the CO2 and water from the fungi, it performs the photosynthesis. By that way, by getting the raw material for the photosynthesis from the fungi, algae may be gets benefited. Again, in return to that, fungi receives the starch material from the algae freely. By that way, that may be also gets benefited. So that is also a better example for the mutualism. Again, fig tree, wasp association is also a better example. Again, orchid, plant and bee, also better example for that kind of the mutualism. Specifically in the case of the orchid, Mediterranean orchid, that is said to be as the ovaries. Again in the specialized mechanism is taken place, that is said to be as the sexual deceit mechanism is appears in ovaries and the means definitely one of the petal of ovaries acquires the same morphology of the female being in order to maintain constant rate of the pollination. During that definitely male bee is sexually deceited. Means male bee assume that this one of the petal is original female and it may be visit that kind of the petal as assuming it is the original female and it starts copulating with that. So that only that population is said to be as the pseudo population. In that way, definitely to maintain constant pollination rate, this ovaries, one of the petal of the ovaries must be acquires the same morphology of the original female bee. By that way, it sexually deceives the male bee. That is very clearly appears between the ovaries and the male bee. Next one is the mutualism. Next one is the commensalism. Definitely in commensalism, one partner must be gets benefited, second one neither gets benefited nor affected. For example, cattle aggregate board and cattle association, sea anemone and clownfish are better example for the commensalism. Next one is the predation. Next to predation, why the predation have to be operated in the case of the nature means for two purposes predation have to be operated. One is that for energy flow, second for control of prey population, predation must be operated in the case of the nature. Means definitely without getting that predation, energy may not be gets transferred from the one trophical level to the another trophical level in the case of the food chain. For effective transferring of energy from the lower trophical level to the higher trophical level in the food chain, definitely predation have to be operated. At the same time, to keep the prey population under the control, predators must be existed in the nature. Predators must be controls prey populations under the control here. Because definitely predators must be shows the three unique functions. One is the predators maintain species diversity. Second one is the predators control prey populations. Third one is the predators are prudent in pertaining of the prey population. Prudent in pertaining of prey population. So predators maintain the species diversity. Better example for this is the Physoster. Physoster, as long as this Physoster is present in water body, definitely among the various invertebrate species, interspecific competition is gets decreases. By that way, the species may not become extinct. Next, predators control the prey population. For example, during the 1920, in Australian open areas, open grassland, prickly pear cactus is a weed that may be rapidly increased in number. So how that kind of a prickly pear cactus was brought under the control by the Australian government means by introducing its predator, that is the moth simply, they may be controlled that kind of the prickly pear cactus distribution in grasslands. Next, the predators are included in fattening of the prey population means definitely predators must be show care towards the existence of prey population, because if the prey populations are become extinct after some time due to the lack of the food material, predators also have to become extinct. So that only never these predators rapidly kill the prey population, they may be taken towards the existence of the prey population for their existence in the further generations also. Because next thing in return to that, they also show certain adaptations to avoid the predation. Then what are the adaptations of the prey means? Definitely in prey populations, what are the adaptations of prey populations means? One is the camouflage, second one is the prey becomes distasteful. Third one is the storing of chemicals. Definitely, certain type of the individuals who changes their body color in order to merge with the surrounding environment to avoid from the predators. Definitely, if the individuals maybe changes their body color with respect to the environmental color on seeing the predator to avoid the predation, then that is said to be as the camouflage. For example, frog. Again, certain the prey becomes distasteful to their predators. For example, when we observe the monarch butterfly, definitely they becomes distasteful to their predators such as the bird by storing the poisonous chemical substance in their body. They never becomes tasteful to the kind of the bird here. Again, storing of the chemical. Certain type of the plants may be source of harmful chemical substances to simply avoid the predation. For example, Calotrophes stores a harmful chemical substance in their body, that is the cardiac glycoside. So this is only to avoid the kind of the predation. This calotrophic plants may be stores that kind of the cardiac glycoside chemical substance in their body here. Next one is the competition. Next to competition. Whenever the environmental resources are limited, then only individuals may be gets involved in the competition to acquire them. Otherwise, if the environmental resources are abundant, individuals will not be to involved in the competition. As per the Charles Darwin, the individuals which are with the high fitness, they may be won in the competition. Individuals which may be with the less fitness, they may be gets good from the competition. Again, definitely competition can be explained by four heads. One is the competition among unrelated species. Second one is the competitive exclusion. Again, third one is the competitive release. Again, fourth one is the coexistence instead of competition. Competition among unrelated species is also called as the interspecific competition. If the competition is occurs among different species of individuals for the same food as well as for shelter, then we can say that is the competition among the unrelated species of individual. For example, competition between the flamingo birds and local fishes for zooplankton is said to be as a competition among the unrelated species. Competitive exclusion is explained by gossip. Better example is the Ebbington tortoise and the goat. Definitely, in Galapagos Island, once upon a time, Ebbington tortoise were present. They may be freely feed on the grass, but whenever the goats are introduced into the Galapagos Island, definitely goats may be started competing with the Ebbington tortoise. But in this competition, goats are superior, Ebbington tortoise is inferior. So that only during the course of the time, Ebbington tortoise were became completely extinct. Means in the competition, superior must be won the competition, inferior must be gets eliminated from the competition. That is said to be as the competitive exclusion. Competitive release means whenever the two individuals may be involved in the competition, of that, as long as superior is present, inferior population size cannot be gets increases, because always inferior may be shows the interest over the kind of the competition with the superior. Only this inferior never focus on the production, so that only its population size will not increases. For example, when we observe the Cathamalus and Barnacle, definitely when we observe the Belanus, this is the Belanus. When we observe the Belanus and the Cathamalus, this is the superior, this is the inferior. As long as Belanus is present in the water body, this Cathamalus population size will not increases, because Cathamalus always focus on competition with Belanus to acquire the food material only, so that only it never focus on the reproduction in the presence of the Belanus. So that only as long as Belanus is present, Cathamalus population size will not increases. But wantedly, experimentally, if we can remove the Belanus, then onwards this Cathamalus is relieved from the competition, then onwards it acquires the food material very freely, then onwards it will be focused on the reproduction. By that way, within a short period, its population size will increases. That is the competitive release. It is explained by the Cornell. It is explained by the Cornell. Finally, as per MacArthur, five different species of the warbler goats may be existed on same tree by acquiring the food material by two mechanisms without getting involved in competition. What are the two mechanisms which they may be followed by the warbler goat to avoid the competition? Means one is the resource partitioning, second one is the different food collecting or food forage patterns. Means as per the MacArthur, five different species of the warbler goats may be avoiding competition by the resource partitioning. Means they may be share the food materials, they may be share the resource equally, and they may be comes out of their hidden places at different timings to avoid the competition. By these two methods, they may be avoid the competition. Means whenever the individuals may be coexisted instead of competition, means Whenever the resource is abundant, whenever the resource is not limited, definitely by the resource partitioning and by different food collecting timings, they may be easily avoided the end of the competition here. This is the population interaction. Next one is the functions of ecosystem. Next to functions of ecosystem, what are the functions of ecosystem? Means ecosystem functions are broadly categorized into four types here. One is the productivity, second one is the decomposition, third one is the energy flow, again fourth one is the nutrient cycle. Nutrient cycles. So principally in each and every ecosystem, four types of the functions are very clearly appear. One is the productivity, second is decomposition, third energy flow, fourth one is the nutrient cycles. Productivity means rate of the production of biomass. Rate of the production of biomass is said to be as the productivity. This productivity, if we want to measure in terms of weight, the units are gram inverse per year, or if we want to measure in terms of energy, kilocalories meter inverse per year. The measuring units of the productivity nothing but rate of the production of the biomass is said to be as the productivity. If we want to measure in terms of weight, that is the gram meter inverse per year. Again in terms of energy, that is the kilocalorie meter inverse per year. Again, productivity principally categorized into two types. One is the primary production, secondary production. Then what is the primary production means? By photosynthesis in given area, in given number of the plant, how much amount of the carbohydrate maybe gets synthesized, that is said to be as the primary production. In carnivore individual, in consumers, how much amount of the new biomass gets synthesized by feeding on the herbivores or by feeding on the plant material is said to be as the secondary production. Means in almost secondary production is appears in the consumers, primary production is appears in the case of the producers. This is appears in producers, this is appears in consumers. Secondary production is appears in the consumer, primary production is appears in the case of the producers. Definitely primary production is principally categorized into two types. One is the GPP, second one is the NP. Gross primary production means total amount of the carbohydrate which is gets synthesized by the given number of the plants in given period in given area is said to be as the GPP, gross primary production. Definitely of the gross primary production, about 20 to 25% of the GPP is utilized by the plant for its respiration. About 20 to 25% of the GPP can be utilized by the plant for its survival, for its respiration, for its reproduction, for its growth, for its repair, for its regeneration. That is said to be as the R. Again, after utilizing 20 to 25% of the GPP, Later, how much amount of biomass is gets nettly stored in the plant, which is gets ready for transferring into the consumers, is said to be as the NPP, that is said to be as the net primary productivity. Means after getting utilization of 20 to 25% of the GPP by the plant itself for its requirement, later how much amount of the starch material is gets stored in the plant in various parts of the plant, which is gets ready for transferring into consumers, is said to be as the NPP. So that only NPP is equal to GPP minus R. Again, GPP is equal to NPP plus R. Next to secondary production means by utilization of NPP, how much amount of the new biomass is gets synthesized in the consumer's body is said to be as the secondary production. Again, annually globally, how much amount of the NPP is gets produced means about 170 billion tons. 170 billion tons of NPP is globally annually produced here. Of that, 55 billion tons is from sea, remaining 115 billion tons is from terrestrial ecosystems. About 115 billion tons is from the terrestrial ecosystem, 55 billion tons is from the sea. Next to second one is the decomposition. Second function of ecosystem is the decomposition. Definitely for the decomposition, what is the raw material means? Detritus. Detritus substance is the raw material for the decomposition. What is the detritus means? Either the dead bodies of animal, either the excretory material of animal, or the defecated matter of the animal, or dead plants together constitute the detritus. Dead animals and plant body, animals defecated matter, animals excretory material, again this dead bodies of the animal as well as plant together constitute the kind of the detritus. Again, for getting the decomposition completion, what are the sequential steps which may be have to be operated to complete that kind of the decomposition process means 5 steps have to be operated in a sequence. One is the fragmentation, second one is said to be as the leaching, third one is said to be as the catabolism, fourth one is said to be as the humidification, fifth one is said to be as the mineralization. These 5 steps have to be operated for completion of the decomposition. Fragmentation means detritus substances get so broken into small pieces for effective digestion. That process is said to be as the fragmentation. Process of the conversion of the detritus substance into small pieces with the help of the earthworm is said to be as the fragmentation. During the fragmentation, whatever the minerals which may be gets releases of them, certain amount of the minerals may be reaches into deeper layers of the earth where they may be gets precipitated. Later they may not make available to the ecosystem furtherly. Such amount of the minerals which may not make available to the ecosystem furtherly are collectively called as the leach. Later, microbial enzymatic activity, microbes secrete digestive enzymes onto the fragmented part of the detritus. By the way, partially depleted cells gets digested, that is said to be as the catabolism. After that, partially digested, depleted substance is acquires amorphous color, that is rich with the nutrients, that is acts as the reservoir for the nutrient. Such amorphous colored substance, colloidal state of the depleted substance which is there, that is said to be as the humus. Process of the formation of the humus is said to be as the humification. Definitely humus is acts as the reservoir for nutrients. Definitely this humus shows the high resistance against the microbial enzymatic activity, so that only that maybe very slowly gets digested, by that way that releases nutrients into the ecosystem very slowly for a longer period, so that only that is acts as a reservoir for the nutrient. Again, even very slowly also, this humus substance gets digested completely. By that way, simple inorganic molecules are gets released from the kind of the digested food material. Means if this kind of the humus is very slowly gets digested and simple substances they maybe gets released, that is said to be as the mineralization. Means from the complex compound, inorganic materials are finally gets releases, that is said to be as the mineralization. These 5 steps must be operated to complete the decomposition. Again, rate of the decomposition must be influences. Rate of decomposition must be influenced by the 2 factors. One is the chemical composition. Chemical composition of detritus. Second one is the climatic condition. Climatic conditions. Chemical composition of the detritus means if the detritus substance is made up of the lignin and chitin, it may not be easily gets digested. By that way, decomposition may not be completed very fastly. So that way, decomposition rate is very slow. Instead of that, if the detritus is made up of the simple sugars and nitrogen, very simply that may be digested. By that way, decomposition is completed within a short period. Similarly, climatic conditions means if the environment is warm and hot, if the environment is moist and warmer, definitely in such this decomposition is occurs very fastly. Instead of that, if the environment is with low temperature, environment is with aerobic nature, definitely decomposition becomes delayed, because decomposition is an oxygen consuming process. Definitely for completion of the decomposition very fastly, oxygen must be rich in aerobic environmental condition. Definitely this decomposers most abundantly utilizes the oxygen. By that way, their energy levels may be increases. By that way, very fastly they may be complete the decomposition. Means decomposition orally can be said as it is the oxygen consuming process. So that only in anaerobic condition at low temperature, this decomposition rate becomes very slow. This is the second function of ecosystem, that is the decomposition. Next, energy flow. Next one is the energy flow. Definitely in ecosystem, from the lower trophical level to the higher trophical level, this energy must be transferred. Definitely during the energy flow, we must be obsessed to thermodynamic laws. What are the means? First one is the first thermodynamic law. Second one is the second thermodynamic law. Second one is the second thermodynamic law. Means while the energy is transferred through the food chain, we must be obsessed to thermodynamic laws. One is the first thermodynamic law. Means definitely energy neither gets created or destroyed. Means whatever the amount of the energy which is reaches into the food chain, total amount of the energy is always maintained constant, but 100% energy transformation will not be taking place from the one trophical level to the other trophical level. That is the first thermodynamic law. Second thermodynamic law nothing but 100% in any biological system as it is the energy transformation is not possible. Definitely certain amount of the energy gets lost in the form of the heat. So that is said to be as the second thermodynamic law. Definitely to betterly explain energy flow, we must be observe the 10% law. For example, when we observe the energy flow as per the 10% law, for example, when we observe the aquatic food chain, phytoplankton is the producer in aquatic ecosystem. It is feeded by the zooplanktons. It is feeded by the small fishes. It is feeded by the big fishes. It is feeded by the pork. In this case, for example, in the phytoplankton, if 200 kilojoules of energy is present as the NPP, out of 200 kilojoules, 200 kilojoules is not as it is transferred into zooplankton. Of that, only 10% means 20 kilojoules is gets transferred into the zooplankton as easily. Remaining 180 kilojoules of energy is gets lost in the form of the heat. Means as per the second law of thermodynamics, 100% as easily total amount of the energy is not gets transferred from one trophical level to another trophical level. Only 10% of energy is gets transferred. Similarly, from the zooplankton to small fishes also, only 10% of energy gets transferred, that is the 2 kilojoules from the 20 kilojoule. Means 10% of energy is transferred from the zooplankton to the small fishes. Remaining 18 kilojoules of energy gets lost in the form of the heat. Similarly, from the small fishes to big fishes, 0.2 kilojoules of energy is only gets transferred. From where into goes 0.02 kilojoules of energy is only gets transferred. Means as per the 10% law, always between the two successive trophical level, only 10% of energy is as is transferred. Remaining 90% of the energy gets lost in the form of the heat. Whatever the amount of energy which is gets lost while transferring from one trophical level to the other trophical level, that is said to be as the entropy. Total amount of energy which is gets lost during the transferring from one trophical level to another trophical level is said to be as the entropy here. This is nothing but energy flow. ఇక్కడ వరకు అర్థం సార్. ఇక్కడ వరకు అర్థం. ఇది ఒక పార్ట్.